Cybercrimes encompass a wide range of illegal activities conducted through computers, networks, and the Internet. Given the growing reliance on digital technology, governments worldwide have implemented stringent laws to combat cybercrimes. The specific penalties for cybercrimes vary depending on the jurisdiction and the nature of the crime. Types of cybercrimes. Cybercrimes can be broadly categorized into several types: hacking and unauthorized access, identity theft and fraud, cyberstalking and harassment, distribution of malicious software, malware, intellectual property theft, piracy, cyberterrorism and espionage, child exploitation and pornography, phishing and financial scams. Legal frameworks. 1. United States Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, CFAA, Electronic Communications Privacy Act, ECPA, Identity Theft and Assumption Deterrence Act, Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA. 2. European Union General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, Directive on Security of Network and Information Systems, NIS Directive Convention on Cybercrime, Budapest Convention. 3. Other jurisdictions: United Kingdom, Computer Misuse Act, Data Protection Act; Canada, Personal Information Protection and Electronic Documents Act, PIPEDA; Australia, Cybercrime Act, Privacy Act. Legal punishments for cybercrimes. 1. Hacking and unauthorized access. Example crimes: unauthorized access or use of computer systems, SQL injection attacks, distributed denial of service, DDoS attacks. Potential punishments: fines, substantial fines, potentially ranging from thousands to millions of dollars. Imprisonment. Sentences can range from a few years to decades, depending on the severity and impact of the crime. Probation and community service, for lesser offenses or first-time offenders. Restitution. Offenders may be required to compensate victims for damages. 2. Identity theft and fraud. Example crimes: unauthorized use of personal information, creating fake profiles for financial gain. Credit card fraud. Potential punishments: fines, hefty monetary penalties. Imprisonment. Sentences can range from several years to life imprisonment, especially for large-scale fraud schemes. Restitution. Offenders may be required to repay stolen funds and compensate for damages. Asset forfeiture. Seizure of assets obtained through fraudulent activities. 3. Cyberstalking and harassment. Example crimes: online harassment or threats, stalking through digital platforms, revenge porn. Potential punishments: fines, monetary penalties designed to deter future offenses. Imprisonment. Sentences can range from several months to years, depending on the jurisdiction and severity. Restraining orders. Legal orders to prevent further contact with the victim. Mandatory counseling. Offenders may be required to undergo counseling or therapy. 4. Distribution of malicious software, malware. Example: crimes: creating and distributing viruses, worms, or trojans. Ransomware attacks. Potential punishments: fines, intricate penalties, often based on the damage caused. Imprisonment. Sentences can range from several years to life imprisonment for severe cases. Restitution. Compensating victims for losses and damages. Prohibition from computer use. Restrictions on the offender's future use of computers and digital devices. 5. Intellectual property theft, piracy. Example: crimes: unauthorized distribution or copying of copyrighted material. Software piracy, distribution of counterfeit goods. Potential punishments: fines. Monetary penalties can be substantial, particularly for large-scale operations. Imprisonment. Sentences can range from a few months to several years. Restitution. Compensating copyright holders for losses. Confiscation. Seizure of pirated goods and equipment used in the crime. 6. Cyberterrorism and espionage. Example: crimes, attacks on critical infrastructure. Unauthorized access to government or corporate networks for espionage. Potential punishments: fines, substantial fines, reflecting the severity of the crime. Imprisonment. Life sentences, or even the death penalty in extreme cases. Asset forfeiture. Seizure of assets linked to the criminal activities. Deportation, for non-citizens involved in such activities. 7. Child exploitation and pornography. Example crimes: distribution or possession of child pornography, online grooming and exploitation. Potential punishments: fines, high monetary penalties, imprisonment, lengthy sentences, often decades or life imprisonment. Registration: mandatory registration as a sex offender. Supervised release, strict monitoring upon release. 8. Phishing and financial scams. Example crimes: phishing scams to steal personal information. Online investment fraud, potential punishments: fines, significant monetary penalties, imprisonment. Sentences can range from a few years to decades. Restitution, repaying victims for losses. Confiscation, seizure of assets obtained through fraudulent means.